Manchester United exploring deals to sign Tyler Dibling and Antonee Robinson in the January transfer window. Erik ten Hag facing major issue in relation to his best starting 11, plus also a little bit of a preview ahead of Manchester United's Europa League clash against FC Twente, which is on Wednesday. These are some of the topics we will be discussing on this morning's show, but before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 500 likes on this episode. And if this is your first time watching, please also subscribe to the channel. We're very close to 40k now, so make sure you go and get involved. Everyone is welcome. Right, let's start with... What should we start with today? Let's start with the news about Tyler Dibling then, shall we? So this is coming out from multiple different journalists this morning in the UK, saying that apparently Manchester United scouts were in attendance to watch Tyler Dibling against Ipswich as he scored the opening goal on the weekend. And the story also goes on to say that apparently Manchester United are looking to sign Tyler Dibling in the January transfer window. Now, the interesting thing about Tyler Dibling is his contract expires in June. So Manchester United have the opportunity here to get a very talented youngster for free. His contract expires in June the 30th, 2025. And the interesting thing as well, which I think I've mentioned before, apparently Dan Ashworth was trying to sign Tyler Dibling when he was at Newcastle. So when obviously he was the director of football over at Newcastle, Dan Ashworth was reportedly trying to bring Tyler Dibling over to Newcastle. So he's apparently a big fan of him. Obviously, he's English as well, so he would help with the homegrown quota. He can operate as a right winger, a left winger, or as an attacking midfielder. I think it would be a great signing, to be honest. You know, he's young, definitely very, very talented. He's just broken into the first team at Southampton this season. He's played all 5 games. He's only got 1 goal. He did get 2 assists in the League Cup though a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I mean it's not a terrible return. He's got 3 goals and assists in 7 appearances so far across all competitions. And I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks into the England team very, very soon as well. So yeah, really, really exciting player. It's exactly the kind of deal that we know Ineos like to do, bringing in players for the future. So I would love to see this happen. He's not like a big name signing. It's not like you're going and buying a Vinny Jr. or a Dembele or, someone of that caliber. But I think Ineos's plan going forward is going to be bringing in people like Tyler Dibling, people like Chido Obi-Martin, those types of players, young, hungry, already have experience of English football. And you know what? I endorse that. I would much rather us bring through the next best player than us go and waste another 100 million euros on a player like Antonee again, because we can all agree that was probably one of the worst transfers in our history, right? Spending, was it 100 million euros? It might be a little bit less than that, but regardless, we're talking about finite details here. We've spent absolutely crazy amounts of money on Antonee, and let's be honest, he is. I wouldn't even say he's average. I'd say he's below average. We paid 95 million euros for Antonee. I mean, at the age of 22 as well. Like I would swap Tyler Dibling for Antonee in a heartbeat without even thinking about it. From what I've seen of Tyler Dibling, he looks way better than him, and he's only 18. So yeah, we can live and learn from our mistakes, and that's the most important thing here, right? We can't change the past. We can't change the terrible decisions that the Glazers, John Murtough, Richard Arnold, Ed Woodward made. Like, that's done. There's nothing we can do to undo that now. We can't go and ask Ajax for our money back, can we? But what we can do is we can learn, and we can say, that was a bad bit of business, and make sure we don't do it again in the future. That's effectively all Manchester United can do now, because we're stuck with Antonee. He's got 3 years left on his contract, and no one's going to buy him, And if someone did buy him, right, Transfer Market's website has got him valued at 25 million euros now. So if we were to sell Antonee next summer, we'd probably be lucky to get 25, 30 million euros, which would mean, 60, 65 million euros loss? I mean, it's crazy, crazy money to be losing on a player, but I don't know. It's just one of those ones, isn't it? Where, as I said, you can't undo the past. You can't, go back with your receipt and say, give us back our money, but you can live and learn. You can move on, and you can, promise yourselves never to make those types of mistakes again. And hopefully that's what Ineos will be doing. So yeah. Right, let's see what people are saying in the chat this morning. Welcome, everybody. I hope you are doing well. What are people saying? Ant says, these young signings, even if they don't work, are great. It gives us a huge pool of young talent to sell on for profit. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it from that perspective. But if you bring in, Tyler Dibling for free, like you said, the worst case scenario, in a couple of years, you sell him for 10, 15 million. And that'll be 10, 15 million profit. So yeah, I completely agree with you. Obviously, you hope that they break through into the first team and they become the next best thing. But if they don't, like, the worst case scenario is players like Tyler Dibling get sold on for a profit. So yeah, I agree with you fully. So that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. But so thank you for your contribution. Okay, let's move on to Antonee Robinson then, because this is another player who Manchester United are being linked to heavily this morning ahead of the January transfer window. Obviously, Manchester United need a new left back. Diogo Dalot's been playing at left back. He's been doing a decent job at left back, but I think he is much better at right back personally, Diogo Dalot. And I think, when we have Luke Shaw in the squad, I think we do look like a much better team. But Luke Shaw, when was the last time Luke Shaw was available for like a long period of time? I'm going to have a look. I'm going to answer my question. So apparently Luke Shaw's expected to return in about a week. Let's have a little look. So he's played no minutes this season, I don't think, has he? Has he played any minutes this season? No. Let's have a look. 23, 24. Yeah, he hasn't played a single minute of football this season. Last season, he only played in the Premier League 12 games. And of those 12 games, he only played 900 minutes. So, 10 games really. 12 games he played last season. I mean, it's awful. I'm sorry. That is so bad. When was the last time he played before that? Yeah, the last time he played for Manchester United, right, Luke Shaw, was there against Luton. He played for 20 minutes, and that was on the 18th of February. So what's that? What are we in now? September. It's going to be nearly 8 months between when the last time we played and when he plays now. 8 months. And even then, I'm looking. It's just frustrating, isn't it? 8 months with a muscle injury. I mean, what the hell's wrong with his muscle? He's 30 soon as well, Luke Shaw. It's just he's just another one of those players, the same as Antonee, another player that we made a massive mistake on. I think at the time of signing him, obviously that was a good deal to do at the time. But why on earth they gave him a new contract completely baffles me. He's here for another 3 years. Luke Shaw will be 33 by the time he leaves Manchester United. And if he's missing 8 months of a season at the age of 29, turning 30 soon, what's he going to be like as he goes into his 30s? It's only going to get worse. I don't know. I don't know what you could do with him. I mean, if there was a world where you could almost release him from his contract and he goes and signs for someone else and you don't have to pay him off, I would genuinely do that. I know you can't do that now, but say in January or in the summer, if his injuries continue, I would rather just get him off the wage bill, even if it means that we don't get any money for him. It's just frustrating, isn't it? Because he is a good player, Luke Shaw. He is a talented left back. And I think we do look a lot stronger when he is on the pitch. But, you can't shy away from the fact that he hasn't played for Man United for 8 months. And then miraculously, he makes himself fit for the Euros and then he's injured again after the Euros. That's not good. I'm sorry. There's no way of sugarcoating that. You can't just be injured all season and then suddenly be available for England and then suddenly be injured again as soon as club football starts. That's just not okay and not normal. But anyway, let's move on from that. Enough of my morning ranting this morning. Let's talk about Antonee Robinson. So the story today is that apparently Manchester United are wanting to push through to sign Fulham left back Antonee Robinson. I'll be honest, I don't think he would have been my first choice, but I think he is a decent player. He's 27 years of age, which is also something that kind of puts me off a little bit. I think I would much rather us go for someone like Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth. I think he would be a much more interesting option. Only 20 years of age, Milos Kerkez. Whereas Antonee Robinson, Antonee Robinson's just turned 27. So obviously you can't buy him now. It would be in January. So yeah, I mean, if you bought him in January, he'd be turning 28 quite soon, wouldn't he? So yeah, I don't know. I think we need a new left back. I would 100% agree on that without a shadow of a doubt. But I'm not sure whether Antonee Robinson is the player for me. I think he's good. I think he's done well at Fulham. But At the age of 27, I don't think it really is a very progressive signing. I think it's a short-term signing. It's a stopgap. I mean, I might be wrong. You know, he might go until he's in his late 30s, and he might play for another 10 years. But I don't know. Just recency bias of players that we've signed once they've got like closer to 30, I think it usually has backfired. They've got no resale value. They usually start picking up like silly little injuries and, you know, muscle problems and all the rest of it. So, yeah, I mean, unless it was a really cheap deal, which I don't think it would be because he's just signed a new contract at Fulham. He's just signed a new 4-year deal. So he's there until 2028. Apparently, Fulham are asking for around £30 million for him, which I think sounds like a lot. Whereas Bournemouth are asking for around £30 million for Milos Kerkez. So, yeah, I would go with Milos Kerkez, but obviously you can let me know in the comment section. If you had to pick between Milos Kerkez and Antonee Robinson from Fulham, who would you go with? Antonee Robinson, 27, available for £30 million. Milos Kerkez, 20 years of age, available for also around £30 million from Bournemouth. I don't know when his contract expires, actually, with Milos Kerkez. Let me have a little look. The rain in the England today, I'm sat in my loft room. It is absolutely chucking it down. Yeah, I don't know how long his contract is. It doesn't say. Some websites are saying it expires in 2025. That's interesting. Yeah, maybe it does. 2025, it says on this website here, Milos Kerkez. So next summer. So maybe that is one that we could try and get a bit of a deal. But yeah, the rain here in England is absolutely terrible. The summer is just fully gone. Not that it really ever happened, really. But yeah, I would go with Milos Kerkez. I think he'd be a much better option for Manchester United. But you can let me know in the comment section. Who would you go for, Milos Kerkez or Antonee Robinson? Everyone who's just joined the video, if you could do me a small favour and hit the like button, that would be really, really appreciated. We're trying to get to 500 likes on this video, so please go and do that now if you haven't already. And if this is your first time watching, please do make sure to subscribe as well. We're getting closer and closer to the 40k mark, so yeah, please go and subscribe if you haven't already. It doesn't cost you any money. Yeah, it's completely free. I will drop a link into the chat right now for those of you who are new to go and subscribe. Where is it? There it is. Right, let's move on to this little conversation I've got planned for you about Erik ten Hag's selection issue, because I think there is a selection issue at Manchester United, and I think one of the most difficult things for Erik ten Hag is going to be selecting his best team. I think the defence picks itself. I think the midfield picks itself. I think it's the attacking players that are really the problem. Now, because every person in the fan base seems to have an opinion on who should play in the attacking areas, right? And there isn't a right or wrong answer. Everyone has their own opinion, of course, but I think the defence picks itself, the goalkeeper picks itself, and the midfield picks itself. Would we all agree there? You know, we know who our best defenders are, we know who our best midfielders are, but the attacking area, I do think it is a bit of a problem. And the reason I say this is Joshua Zirkzee, I think his build-up play, his link-up play, his ability on the ball is unbelievable. Unbelievable. But he's unbelievable as a number 10. He's not an out-and-out striker. He's not clinical. He's not going to get us 20 goals in the Premier League. He won't. It's just not going to happen. And anybody who disagrees, like, he's got 1 goal in 5 games. He's not going to get 20-plus goals in the Premier League. No way. Like he's not an Ollie Watkins. He's not an Erling Haaland. He's not even like, I'm not saying Dominic Solanke's good, but that profile of player, you know, an out-and-out goal scorer, an Antonee, you get the point, right? Rasmus Højlund is more of that kind of player, and I want nothing more than to see Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee in the same side. I think we would be so solid if we had that in our team. But the issue that Erik ten Hag has is that obviously Bruno Fernandes occupies the number 10 position. I like Bruno. He's a good player. But the more I see Bruno Fernandes play, I just don't think he suits what Erik ten Hag is trying to do. And the biggest example of that is against Crystal Palace on the weekend. Most of our midfielders had like 90% pass completion or more. Bruno's was like 70%. I think I read a stat that said he gave the ball away like 28 times or something. And it was like a video that showed all the times he gave the ball away. The build-up play was really nice. He gets the ball and then tries to like hoof it or does something and we lose the ball. Whereas Joshua Zirkzee, every time he gets the ball, he's doing little intricate passes and it's like really, really quick and fast and, really nice. And he should have got a couple of assists in that game, Joshua Zirkzee. If you go back and watch the highlights, he played a beautiful little ball to Bruno and Bruno misses. There was a couple of other opportunities where Joshua Zirkzee did some really nice play and whoever the ball went to, they didn't score effectively. But I just think that the problem that Erik ten Hag has is that obviously there's the favourites of, the Brunos, the Rashfords, where he feels like he probably has to select them. And I just don't see Erik ten Hag being able to rotate them. Whether there's something in their contract or not, I don't know. We're never going to know that. I know some people seem to think that, that some of these players have like contractual agreements that says that if they're available, they have to play or they have to play 95% of games if fit or, we don't know. And I know that's obviously speculating, but I think with Bruno, it's pretty safe to see, he is just signed a massive new contract. He's the captain. I don't know. It's difficult. It's frustrating. It is frustrating because we do now have a squad depth. We do have squad depth. We do have options to rotate. But I just think that some of the players we have in the key positions aren't the right players. Johnny says, where are all these favourites talk coming from? Never heard it with Ollie. Ollie played Bruno every game as well. Bruno's literally never been dropped ever. Not once. Bruno's only missed one game for Manchester United in 3 years. Like through injury. Even against Barnsley, we're winning 5-0 and Bruno Fernandes comes off the bench with like 35 minutes to go. That's not normal. I'm telling you, he must have something in there that says, that he must have to play. I saw another stat yesterday as well. That out of any midfielder or attacking midfielder, Bruno Fernandes has had the most chances, the most shots across all of the top 5 leagues, right? I think he's had 17 shots and he hasn't scored a single goal yet. It's difficult. It really is difficult. So I don't know. I don't know what Erik ten Hag is going to do to address this, to be honest, because I do really, really feel that he's going to have to make some really tough decisions, to be honest, I would even bring Bruno further back. Like, I have no problem with Bruno Fernandes staying in the team, but I just think that if that means that Joshua Zirkzee can't play, then that's going to make us weaker, So if it was up to me, I would bring Bruno Fernandes back into the more deeper role and put Joshua Zirkzee as a number 10 and then have Højlund as the striker, because I think we would score loads of goals like that, But yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what happens here. And obviously then what do you do with Mason Mount? Like, Mason Mount's on the bench. When's he going to play? Eriksen's been decent. When's he going to play? And I know it's a good problem to have, but it's only a good problem to have if you're actually rotating. And I just feel that the rest of the team are probably looking at the situation, the other midfielders, and thinking, no matter what I do, Bruno Fernandes is going to start. Even if Bruno Fernandes has stinker after stinker after stinker, he's still going to start. Like, imagine if it was McTominay who played like Bruno did on the weekend. People would be crucifying him. People would be like, he can never play. He shouldn't play again. But because it's Bruno, and because he's like a fan favourite and all the rest of it, the other players in that squad are going to be looking at the situation thinking, no matter what I do, no matter how hard I train, no matter how much effort I put in, I'm still not going to be picked ahead of him. And I think that's a fair comment to make, to be honest. So yeah, it's a little bit difficult. It's a difficult situation, and I don't know. Like, I don't know how Erik ten Hag navigates around it, or if he even can. Because if you drop Bruno Fernandes, that would be such a big story, and the problem is what does that do to the team's morale? I don't know. It's difficult, but I'd be interested to know what you guys think. Like, what's the solution? What's the solution? Somebody says that Bruno should play central midfield alongside Manuel Ugarte. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good option, I think. I mean, that then means that Kobbie Mainoo doesn't play, though, remember? Which is a bit disappointing. But at the same time, Kobbie Mainoo is only 19. Kobbie Mainoo shouldn't be playing every single minute for Manchester United at the age of 19. I think he should be rotated. Otherwise, he's going to burn out by the time he's 21, 22. So, yeah, maybe Bruno should kind of rotate with Mainoo as the central midfielder. and give Xerxes that opportunity as the number 10, because Xerxes clearly is a number 10. It's so obvious to see. Like, we've seen him now, for 5 games in the Premier League, and he 100% is a number 10, Joshua Xerxes, I think. I don't think he's a striker at all. So you need to use players in their best positions, and Joshua Xerxes' best position is clearly as the number 10. But I'm going to leave it here for today. I want you guys to have a little think about what I've said and get in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. Please make sure to drop a like on the video before you leave. Please also subscribe to the channel if you are new. This has been Daily Red Devil. Have a lovely day, everybody. I'll be back at 6 p.m. Speak to you all later. Bye for now.